If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
So the 2023 season has officially started with the Daytona 500. We had a surprise upset winner with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. taking the Great American Race. As the 2023 season has officially kicked off, as we are getting ready to kick off this 9-month marathon to see who will hoist the 75th Bill France Cup in the 75-year anniversary, aka the third quarter quell season for NASCAR. But of course, the Cup 500 wasn't the only race that happened this week. Let's take a look first at all the other action that happened at Daytona during this speed week. So, of course, we had the early activities to Daytona Speed Week with the Cup Series with 500 qualifying, which the front row, let's be honest, qualifying for the 500 and super speedways in general is kind of fucking meaningless. Because it doesn't matter where you start on a super speedway, because it's all about survival and being there at the end of the race. But hey, you know, some people still pretend this shit means something, so we'll just cater to them for a little bit. So, of course, the front row for the 500, once again, it was an HMS front row lockout with Alex Bowman getting his third pull in the 500 in 6 years, and Kyle Larson locking out the front row. So it was literally the same front row as last year, just both of them swapped spots. And also, the Daytona 500 rig question comes back into play, because Alex Bowman, all three of his polls have come with an interesting storyline. Because 2018, Alex Bowman wins the pole in his first race, replacing Dale Jr. in the 88. 2021, Bowman wins the pole in his first race, replacing Jimmy Johnson in the 48. In 2023, Alex Bowman wins the pole in the 48 during the same weekend that Jimmy Johnson, who made that 48 car famous, makes his return to NASCAR in the 500. And also, Jimmy Johnson and Travis Pastrana also make it in the 500 off speed in qualifying. So, is 500 qualifying rigged? Maybe, but I would say 100% NASCAR manipulates the living shit out of it just for TV ratings and storylines so that the fans have a fucking excuse to turn in. I mean, take your pick on that one, I guess. And then to the duels. Well, Duel 1, it was just a boring-ass fucking for single-file choo-choo train the entire race. Like literally, by the end, when McDonald was leading, I was like, is anybody gonna make a move? No? Okay. Like, how great is it for you to just lay down and die in that race? But the main interest was in who would make the 500 in the first duel. And in the end, Shane Smith, the reigning Truck Series champion, races his way to the field with Front Row Motorsports, while Chandler Smith in the third colleague car got sent packing. But don't go too far, Chandler. You still got an Xfinity race Saturday to look forward to. And then the second duel race. Second duel race was more of a shit show than the first one. It was like more action-packed. Like, the race really got turned upside down late in the duel when Kyle Busch was leading then, and he got turned with a bad shove from behind by Suarez into the wall. And that wreck would then take out Pastrana and Austin Hill and a couple others. And with Pastrana and Austin Hill getting taken out in that wreck, it meant that Connor Daly, the longtime IndyCar veteran racing for Floyd Mayweather's woman-beating money team, gets in the 500. Despite doing absolutely nothing in the race, but doing the bare minimum just to drunkenly stumble his way in. And Austin Hill with Beard Motorsports in the 62 gets sent packing. But don't go too far, Austin Hill. You still got an Xfinity race Saturday to look forward to, too. And also, Logano won the first duel and Almirola won the second duel. Oh, well. But like I said, you know, qualifying for super speedway racing is kind of fucking meaningless because it's all about survival and trying to be putting yourself in the right place at the right time near the end. Like, super speedway racing is more luck-based than skill, to be honest. But yeah, that's all the Speed Week activities there. Now let's get to the actual races that mattered. So first off, you had the truck race at Daytona, and this truck race was fucking terrible. A race that was mainly plagued by weather the entire goddamn time. Like, there was at least 3 red flags for rain. Like, when was the last time we had a race in any top 3 series where we had at least 3 red flags, and all 3 for the same goddamn reason? Like, Jesus Christ. Well, after the 3rd red flag, I was just calling for NASCAR just to end the fucking race, because it was getting fucking embarrassing at that point. Because it's like, what the fuck are we doing there? Well, but then again, you know, that just shows you how unpredictable Florida weather is, because showers could just pop up anywhere, just like that. But yeah, during this race, you know, it was mainly between Saint Smith and Christian Eckes, like, that mainly were the lead trucks in this race. He also had a couple crashes, but nothing too major. Like, really, there wasn't really many big ones in this race. But in the end, the race would get called with 22 to go. And Saint Smith, the reigning Truck Series champion, picks right back up where he left off last year. And claims the season opener at Daytona for the 2nd year in a row. And I wonder what Christian Eckes is going to do, because Christian Eckes said in his interview, I swear to God, if Saint Smith Mickey Mouses his way to this win, so now what? What, Eckes? What do? But yeah, Saint Smith, the reigning Truck Series champion, looking to defend this title, gets his season off to a good start. And no, we cannot say he's not locked into the chase yet, because there's still a chance we could have 11 different winners throughout this. So, but Saint Smith gets like a win at Vegas or some shit, or gets 2 wins, then we'll lock him in. But for now, Saint Smith will have to wait on his fate. But for now, his chances of making it back to the chase to defend his Truck Series title are still pretty good right now, as he's in a good position to do that. We'll find out his chase fate in a few months. Now to the ARCA race at Daytona, and honestly, this ARCA race was actually not that bad. Like, well, the first half was kind of boring, but yeah, the second half was when it really got going. Like, really, this race did not have any ARCA moments. Like, really, there really wasn't an ARCA moment in this race. Like, there wasn't a big one. It was actually a pretty tame Daytona race for ARCA standards, which is kind of surprising. Like, really, the fastest cars in this race consists of Connor Mosack. You got Jason Kitzmiller up there, too. Even Greg Van Olsen, even had Jason White, the former Penny Series driver, up there, too. Like, throughout this race, I was deep down rooting for Frankie Muniz, the guy that played Malcolm in the Middle with Agent Cody Banks, to go get the job done. Like, he had a really good run going until he got in an incident with Amber Belson, which led to Andy Jankowicz's right rear panel, the bumper to come right off, and almost went over the catch fence, but didn't. Like, I was sad that Frankie Muniz got involved in that incident, because Frankie had a top 5 run going. He had a really good run going, too. And then gets involved in that just still normal super speedway shit luck. But, you know, Frankie, he did rebound and end up finishing 11th, which for a debut race, that's not terrible. You know, good job to Frankie on that one. You know, Frankie may definitely have some wheel in him. I don't know, whether Frankie actually has talent in ARCA or not is yet to be seen, but so far, not bad. But yeah, in the end, this race ended up being a duel that went all the way to the end. And we had a duel between Jason White and Greg Van Olst. And regardless of who won, someone was guaranteed to get their first career win in ARCA. And in the end, the racing gods would decide that this would not be Jason White's day, as Greg Van Olst was able to make a big run on the last lap on turn 4 on the outside. Somehow made it hang in there by inches from being forced into the wall. But Greg Van Olst got the run and got the lead from Jason White after getting a good shove from Connor Mosack. And Greg Van Olst comes to the line and wins the ARCA season opener at Daytona. So Greg Van Olst is officially a winner in the ARCA series. You know, that's actually pretty cool for Greg Van Olst. You know, a short track driver that's had to scratch and claw for everything in his career, stuck in a shitbox ride, finally gets his moment of fame in racing. And he probably possibly have thrown out one of the best post-race interviews by a winner I have ever seen. I'm not even going to talk about it. Just listen and take a look for yourself.
20 sponsors in one interview.
It's going to be hard.
That's me.
So good.
See that vein popping out of his head?
Guys like me are supposed to do that.
That's awesome.
Let's get it down to
He wants that
Jamie.
flag.
Take it in, Jamie.
As Greg Van Oss climbed out of that car, he said, guys like me are not supposed to be able to do this. He collects the checkered flag. I'm not sure you can put it into words, but the emotion that you're feeling right now, how much heart went into this win?
Oh, it's everything I got. It's the only speedway car we got. There's no way I was going to bring it home without the steering wheel of the trophy, and that was it. This is for all the short track racers out there that don't think you can get to this level. I've worked my ass off to get here, and we did it! Yeah!
Oh my. I have tears in my eyes. It doesn't get better than that.
I mean, Greg Van Oss said it best. Guys like him, of his caliber, aren't supposed to win races like this. But somehow, someway, because of how unpredictable super speedway racing is, he was able to pull off the upset. And he gets his first career win and gets his first shining light in the day. But to be perfectly honest, it probably won't mean too much though. But he'll probably end up with a solid points finish in ARCA because of the lack of full-time drivers in ARCA. Because you got a bunch of the young kids in there that are probably going to run the full season that can't. Because of the rule where you can't run any track above 1.25 miles if you're under the age of 18. But odds are for the championship, we don't really need to preview this one. This ARCA championship is easily Jesse Loves to lose. But yeah, the ARCA season's officially started. Well, there's at least one series going that's worth a damn. That actually has a legitimate championship I can actually watch for once. Unlike some other series that NASCAR like to ruin down across the south of the border. Next up, the Xfinity race at Daytona. Well, this race was actually pretty tamed. Like, this race actually didn't really have any major crashes. Like, you had a couple crashes, but that was it. Like, most of this race, though, this race was mainly dominated by Austin Hill. Like, Austin Hill easily had the car to beat in this race. Like, Austin Hill, there's a reason why I feel like he's one of the top super speedway racers in the Xfinity series this year. You know, there's a reason why I think he's going to win 3 of the 5 super speedway races this year. And this race kind of proved it. Hell, he even had to start in the back of the field, and he still charged his way up to the front and won stage 1 anyway. So, yeah. But Austin Hill dominated this race. Like it was mainly between him and Junior Motorsports Chevys throughout much of this race. Like near the end of this race, though, it was looking like Austin Hill was gonna be a sitting duck with him sitting ahead of 4 Junior Motorsports cars, because Junior Motorsports had a 4-on-1 advantage. And then, oh boy, the collapse began, because with 2 to go, Brandon Jones tried to make a move, but then he would end up misjudging the gap between him and Josh Berry, and he would turn off Josh Berry's nose and go straight in the grass, forcing a caution to go to overtime. And then in overtime, on the restart, when it looked like Allgaier was going to get the lead, and he initially got it, then Sam Mayer gets turned, while also trying to get the lead too, from a bad shove from Allgaier, just hard racing for the win. You know, Sam Mayer gets spun and he ends up flipping upside down and over and caused a big crash that took out guys like Parker Kligerman and others, which was unfortunate. You know, also unfortunate Sheldon Creed got involved in a big one. Like, Sheldon Creed just can't catch a break in Xfinity. God damn. But yeah, disappointing though for Parker Kligerman, because he was having a solid run too, but that was disappointing. And then Sam Mayer, you know, at least Sam Mayer was okay. So yeah, that's the second year in a row in Xfinity where the race ended with a car flipping on the last lap. You know, last year you had Myatt Snyder flipping into the catch fence. This year you had Sam Mayer flipping upside down. At least the car didn't go in the catch fence this time, so that's good. It was good to see Sam Mayer walk away on his own power. So then with the caution coming out, also races that end under caution are always a sin. But since the car flipped, I guess they really had no choice. But yeah, in the end, NASCAR had to use video replay to find out who was the leader at the moment of caution. I even watched the replays, and it was way too close to call. Like, I couldn't even call it. It was way too close. And then it became a 2-part review, because they also were reviewing if John Hunter Nemechek got forced below the yellow line by Allgaier, or if he voluntarily went down there to advance his position. To be perfectly honest, he was forced down there by Allgaier. He was 100% forced because Allgaier was defending him while trying to go for the lead. In the end, this would take about 10 minutes to review the winner. And in the end, after 10 minutes and a lot of reviewing through every single angle there was, Austin Hill would be declared the winner. So Austin Hill successfully defends his win at Daytona in the season opener. And Austin Hill gets his third career win and goes back-to-back at Daytona. So yeah, Austin Hill, he ran a great race. He deserved the win. Congratulations to him. So yeah, now all 3 of Austin Hill's wins in Xfinity have come on super speedways. 2 at Daytona, 1 at Atlanta. Always missing is Talladega to complete the trifecta. But yeah, Austin Hill gets the win. And the question was, would Nemechek get penalized or would Allgaier get penalized for that yellow line controversy? In the end, NASCAR did something rare. They chose to penalize neither driver. So Nemechek got scored in second and Allgaier got declared third. So in the end, NASCAR gave no penalty to either driver for that yellow line deal. I mean, you're racing for the freaking win on the last lap. Honestly, that was the right call. So yeah, holy shit, NASCAR actually made the right officiating call for once with the yellow line rule, and the fan base wasn't split on it for once. Well, I'll be damned. That's impressive. Maybe there's hope after all. But honestly, there's an easy way to solve this yellow line controversy. I've been saying it for years, and I'm going to continue to say it until NASCAR actually fucking does it. You want to know how you solve this yellow line controversy problem once and for all? Get rid of the rule. Get rid of it. That's simple. Because how many times? Because this is like one of the first times since, 2019, where we as a fan base have united and agreed as a whole that NASCAR made the right call with the yellow line rule. Because usually this rule just leads to more controversy and confusion every time. And usually 9 times out of 10, this rule splits the fan base in half every time. But this is one of those times where it didn't split the fan base in half. Well, unless you're Ultimate 23 Karen and her reign of bullshit there. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, this hatred for Austin Hill can't be that deep. It can't be that deep. But yeah, and she even decided to clap back at me for holding her accountable for being a salty sore loser. And yeah, you 23D, like, blocking me is really gonna fucking stop me from holding you accountable and talking shit about you for being a salty bitch. Fucking idiots. But yeah, so, yeah, I think it's safe to say I'm probably gonna get a 20-30 minute video from Ultimate 23 Karen sometime this week. We'll have to see. I don't care, honestly. It's free publicity for me. Like I could give a rat's ass what she thinks of me. But yeah, hey, you have idiots in this fan base, and yeah, she happens to be one of those idiots. Honestly, she can keep crying. And let me just say this to her real quick if she's watching. I'm not even an Austin Hill fan. I just respect goodwill when I see it. Maybe she should start doing the same thing too instead of hating someone over the pettiest of bullshit. But yeah, this Xfinity race though, it was a solid race, but it was a kind of a shit show ending. But yeah, NASCAR actually made the right call on both fronts because Austin Hill was the winner. Like, it was so close to call. Like, I think Austin Hill winning was the right call. Like, if they spent that much time to review it, then it must have been the right call. Instead of just calling it immediately and making the wrong call. But yeah, NASCAR actually did some good officiating in this race for once. That's a shock. Good shit then. And now we get to the Daytona 500. So the 65th running of the Great American Race on the 75-year anniversary season. So the first half of this race was actually pretty tame for the most part. Like, throughout the first 100 laps, it was very tamed. Like there was really there was only one caution the first 100 laps, and that was for the stage break. And even Riley Herbst's spin coming to pit lane didn't cause a caution. But it really didn't get crazy until 12 to go in stage 2. As soon as Fox went to commercial, a big one would immediately happen. Oh, look, the big one happening as a crash happening as soon as Fox goes to commercial. Who could have predicted that? Because, yeah, Fox's coverage was so fucking ass. Like, this race was in more commercial break than actual race itself. Hell, at one point in this race, commercial 500 was trending on Twitter. And honestly, that was a pretty appropriate name for this race, was the commercial 500. But yeah, that first big one, it would take out, Ryan Blaney would take out Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones, Chase Elliott. Yeah, it just took out some pretty strong cars, though. Even though Blaney would rebound and get a top 10 finish in 8th, that still just damaged him. But Blaney mainly got that top 10 because of the craziness that would happen later on in the race. But yeah, usually, for the most part, this race was mainly dominated by the Fords. Mainly Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher, the RFK duo. You even had Logano up there, too. It was mainly the Ford show at the super speedways. But stage 3 was when the shit show really took off. Because the third stage on was when it really took off. Because then you had another crash that took out McDowell, Priest, Briscoe, Harvick, and Truex for some damage. And then when it looked like Kyle Busch was finally going to get the win, working with Austin Dillon right as they were leading with 2 to go, we would then get Daniel Suarez in the wall. That would bring out the caution and send this race to overtime. And then Kyle Busch even took a shot at NASCAR, saying that if this was 1998, he would have won the race. Of course, Kyle Busch was referencing Dale Earnhardt's win in 1998, back when NASCAR had no green-white checker rule. So yeah, we would get attempt 1 of overtime, and we would get another big one. When Austin Dillon would get a bad shove from behind by William Byron, and then he would slide up into Byron, both of them go off the track, and then come right back up on the apron on the track, and it caused a massive wreck. Would take out Todd Gilliland, Cindric, Noah Gragson, Jimmy Johnson. It took out a lot of good cars. The first half of this race was good, but the second half was when the 500 became a fucking normal super speedway demo derby shit show for entertainment. And I know just because of how the second half was, a lot of fans are going to overrate it because a lot of fans in NASCAR tend to watch the races only for fucking crashes. Because, crashes equal excitement and ratings. Yeah. But yeah, there's an easy way to get rid of that stereotype. Because that stereotype is always going to follow us NASCAR fans forever. The stereotype of fans only watch for the crashes. The only way you're going to get rid of that stereotype is getting rid of races like this. But NASCAR's never going to get rid of the 500 because it's NASCAR's baby. They're never going to do that. But yeah, in the end, though, we would end up going to a second overtime. And also during that first overtime, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would rocket his way to the lead, bringing Kyle Larson with him. And then then we get to attempt 2 of overtime, where Ricky Stenhouse would get the lead, but it would become a battle between him, Larson, and Logano out coming to the white flag. But as they came off turn 1, Larson would get shuffled back. And then it would be the battle between Logano and Stenhouse for the win. And then as that happened, we have a wreck in the back that took out whoever was left in the race, which took out Larson, as Larson had a hard hit there, along with Travis Pastrana and a few lot of others. Pretty much everybody else left in the race. By the end of it all, there was only really 3 cars coming off of turn 2 that weren't in that wreck. And those 3 were Stenhouse, Logano, and Christopher Bell. And in the end, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would end up being the leader at the moment of caution. And also, races that end under caution are always the same. But Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was the leader at the caution. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. claims the 2023 Daytona 500. And Stenhouse didn't wreck anybody for once in the 500s. He didn't really race aggressively. he actually ran a clean race for the most part. Like 100%, Stenhouse ran a great race and he earned this 500 win fair and square. So congrats to rookie Stenhouse Jr. You know, congrats to any of the rookie Stenhouse Jr. fans out there. Stenhouse, the pride of Olive Branch, Mississippi, is finally a Daytona 500 champion. And also for the first time since Trevor Bayne in 2011, a single car team has won the 500. You know what a great underdog story, for JTG Daugherty Racing. Now former NBA player Brad Daugherty is finally a Daytona 500 car winning owner. So yeah, congratulations to him. Congratulations to Stenhouse. So yeah, Stenhouse, a driver that has pretty much been, like I said in my overrated, underrated, properly rated video, that Stenhouse is one of the most underrated drivers in the field. Easily, he's the best midfield driver out there because he's always in midfield equipment. Like if Stenhouse was in a top-tier ride, he would be a top 5, top 10 driver nearly every season. Like, he's that underrated. But yeah, Stenhouse, who's been stuck in midfield equipment in his entire career, Stenhouse finally gets his big moment, his big break. He gets a win in the Daytona 500, his third career win. And all 3 of his wins have come on super speedways, with 2 of them in both Daytona races. The summer race at Daytona, and now the 500. So congrats to rookie Stenhouse Jr. And now Stenhouse sets himself up well to potentially make the chase this year. Whether Stenhouse does or not, we'll find out later this year. Because there's still that chance, with how well last year was, there's a chance we could have 16 or 17 winners in the regular season by the time it's all said and done. But Stenhouse Jr., he set himself up well to potentially make the 2023 chase for the Bill France Cup. We'll tune in on his fate later this season. But yeah, congrats to him, At least Chris Buescher got a top 5 finish, which that's good for him in RFK. At least his fast run was rewarded there with that unpredictable shit show. But yeah, it was a solid race, but that second half of the 500 was an absolute fucking shit show. But yeah, congrats to Stenhouse on winning the 500. Well deserved. Stenhouse is just the most overhated driver in the sport. Just because he drives aggressive, how aggressive he drives on super speedways. But he did nothing wrong this time. He actually did it right, and he got his moment. He got the 500. He wanted it, and he got it. So Stenhouse finally gets his moment in the 47. And also, Stenhouse had a pretty good celebration there for the 500, as when he did the pull-up on the catch fence. Doing something similar to what Noah Gragson did in Xfinity. So yeah, that was a cool celebration by Stenhouse. But yeah, Stenhouse gets the win. 2023 season officially underway. And of course, next week for NASCAR is Fontana. The final race on Fontana's 2-mile configuration. Before NASCAR turns that track into a fucking Hot Wheels hybrid short track. Why the fuck is Fontana being turned into a short track? The track wasn't the problem. Fucking NASCAR and their inconsistency. But still, Stenhouse gets the win in the 65th 500. Congrats to him.